Hello students. So welcome to my channel Reaction House. Today we discuss about merits and demerits of Bohr atomic model. As well as we try to explain the Sommerfeld's extension of atomic theory. So Bohr's model of the atom successfully explained the stability of atoms and the origin of discontinuous line spectrum by them. But there are some drawbacks of Bohr atomic model, that this Bohr atomic model was primarily applicable for hydrogen atom, that is Bohr's model only applicable for one electron system. It could not elaborate the spectra of multi-electron system, and wave nature of electron was not justified by the model. And according to Broglie, every electron have a dual nature, that is particle nature as well as wave nature. So this wave nature of electron does not justified by Bohr's model. And this Bohr's model also did not illustrate the molecular making process of chemical reaction. It also violated the Heisenberg principle, which said that it was impossible to evaluate the position and momentum of electron simultaneously. But according to Bohr theory, he also calculated the radius of orbit, that is the position of electron, as well as the velocity of an electron, that is the momentum of electron. So this Bohr's model violated the Heisenberg's principle. And the Zeeman effect and Stark effect could not be described by this model. So what is Zeeman effect? Actually, in presence of external strong magnetic field, the line spectrum of an hydrogen atom further divided into fine spectrum, and also in presence of strong external electrical field, this line spectrum also further divided into fine spectrum. So in presence of magnetic field, when this line spectrum further divided into fine spectrum, it is known as Zeeman effect, and in case of electrical field, it is known as Stark effect. So this influence of magnetic field and electrical field cannot explain by the atomic theory. So these are few drawbacks of Bohr's atomic model. And also, according to Bohr theory, the angular momentum of electron is equal to integral multiple of nh by 2 pi. But this equation does not have any theoretical justification. So this is also a drawback of Bohr atomic theory. So the observed fine structure of the spectrum of atomic hydrogen stood against Bohr's concept of fixed energy level of the electrons. If, according to Bohr, an electron undergoes transition from one definite energy level to another, the difference of energy should come out as radiation of particular frequency and giving rise to a single line in the spectrum. But the fine structure therefore suggests that presence of more energy levels of any given value of n. This indicates the presence of energy sublevels corresponding to each Bohr orbit. So in 1915, Sommerfeld proposed that the general shape of an electron's orbit was elliptical. According to Bohr, electron revolves around the nucleus in a circular orbit. So maybe the structure of orbit is circular, but according to Sommerfeld, he proposed that the shape of an electron's orbit was elliptical. And corresponding to each principal quantum number, several orbits of varying electricity were possible. So Sommerfeld tried to explain this fine spectrum of hydrogen atom on the basis of elliptical orbit, and he proposed some postulate based on his theory, which is known as Sommerfeld theory. So, according to Sommerfeld, uh, the general shape of an electron's orbit was elliptical, but the Bohr considered that electron revolves around the nucleus in a circular path. That is, the shape of an orbital is circular. But Sommerfeld proposed that the general shape of an electron's orbit was elliptical. So that is the elliptical shape of a orbit. And he also considered that the nucleus was now situated at the one of the focus of this elliptical orbit. If we consider that is the focus, then nucleus present at this focus point, and electron revolves around this nucleus in a elliptical path. If we consider that is electron, then electron revolves around this nucleus in a elliptical path. So Bohr considered that the shape of orbit is circular, that is Bohr model, but Sommerfeld considered that the shape of orbit is elliptical, so that is Sommerfeld model. And during this consideration, Bohr considered that the angular momentum of a orbit is the integral multiple of nh by 2 pi, that is mvr equal to n into h by 2 pi. Here n is the principal quantum number. But during rotation in an elliptical path, there are two parameters become change, that is angle of rotation as well as distance between nucleus and electron. So what is the angle of rotation? If you consider that it is a circular path and it is a diameter of this circle, and this point is the center, or you consider it is a nucleus of an circular path, when an electron revolves around this nucleus in a circular path, at a certain time it creates an angle with this diameter. It is known as theta, and this theta known as angle of rotation. After some time, when it change its position, then if we consider that is nucleus again, and electron change its position from there to there, then the angle of rotation become changed. So according to Bohr theory, when electron revolves around the nucleus in a circular path, then only this angle of rotation change, but the diameters or the distance between the electrons and nucleus become constant. But according to Sommerfeld theory, when electron revolve in an elliptical path, then the angle of rotation as well as the distance between nucleus and electron both are changed. If we consider that is the first angle of rotation, when electron present there, after some time when this electron change its position, then you notice that the angle of rotation as well as the distance between electrons and nucleus both are changed. So that is the modification. So according to Bohr, there only angle of rotation change, but the distance between electron and nucleus become constant. But according to Sommerfeld, when electron revolve around a nucleus in a elliptical path, then angle of rotation as well as the distance between electron and nucleus both are changed. So for Sommerfeld modification you have to consider two quantum numbers. Why? If we draw a peak tangent, with respect to the position of electron, if we consider that is a tangent and it is an electron, then this tangent can be divided into two vectors. One vector towards the radius and another vector towards the center, which is perpendicular with the first vector. So this vector, which is according to radius, known as radius vector. So this vector known as radius vector, and radius vector produce radial velocity, and this vector, which is according to center, this vector known as transverse or angular vector, and this transverse or angular vector produce transverse velocity. So for both vector you have to consider two quantum numbers. So Sommerfeld considered that this mvr equal to nh by 2 pi, which is according to Bohr, and this n is actually the principal quantum number. Now according to Sommerfeld, this principal quantum number can be divided into two quantum number. One quantum number according to radial vector, that is radial quantum number, which is denoted by nr, and the another quantum number is angular quantum number, which is produced due to angular momentum, and it is denoted by k. So the radial momentum, now we can say the radial momentum equal to nr into h by 2 pi, and azimuthal momentum or angular momentum equal to k into h by 2 pi. And actually the total momentum or total angular momentum equal to the sum of these two momentum, that is radial momentum as well as azimuthal momentum. So we can say mvr equal to nr plus k into h by 2 pi. That means principal quantum number now equal to nr plus k, that is summation of radial quantum number plus azimuthal quantum number, and this value of n and k can be calculated by the two axes of elliptical orbit. You know, in an elliptical orbit there present two type of axes, that is semi-major axis, this is known as semi-major axis, and this is known as semi-minor axis. So if we consider the semi-major axis by A and the semi-minor axis equal to B, then the value of n by k equal to A by B. So that is the value of n by k, and this k, which is known as angular quantum number, have the value of if n equal to 4, then k equal to 1, 2, 3 and 4. So when n equal to k, then the shape of orbit is circular. When n equal to k, then shape of orbit is circular. But when the n value is greater than k value, when the n value greater than k value, then the shape of orbit is elliptical. And with decreasing k value, the distance of semi-major axis will increase. So there present so many type of orbit for n equal to 4, and for circular orbit you know n equal to k and the nucleus present at the center, that is equal to 4 for n equal to 4. For n equal to 4 but k equal to 3, the shape of orbital is elliptical. And with decreasing k value, the distance of semi-major axis will increase. And for this orbit, n equal to 4 but k equal to 2, and that is the shape of orbit where n equal to 4 and k equal to 1. So you can say that the value of k will start from 1 and this value of k equal to the value of n. When the n value and k value is equal, then it's become circular, but when k value decreases, then the orbital become elliptical. So that is the azimuthal quantum number. But later Sommerfeld changed this quantum number of k, that is azimuthal quantum number was denoted by L, and later this azimuthal quantum number modified by Sommerfeld and it transferred into L, and the value of L equal to 0 to n minus 1. This L known as azimuthal quantum number, just modified the k value with L and the value of L equal to 0 to n. For example, if n value equal to 3, then L value equal to 0, 1, 2. If n value equal to 2, then L equal to 0 and 1. Just the value of L equal to n minus 1, 0 to n minus 1. If the value of n equal to 4, then L equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. That is the azimuthal quantum number and it is denoted by L. So now we discuss about the hypothesis theory of de Broglie. So according to de Broglie, de Broglie suggests that the dual nature of radiation should have counterpart in matter, and according to him, the relation between the wavelength and momentum of a photon is completely general and applies equally to both photons and material particles. So de Broglie proposed that any type of particles which is revolve around a charged particle have wave nature as well as particle nature. So according to de Broglie, electrons during the rotation around the nucleus have particle nature as well as wave nature. So that is the dual nature of electron. Sometimes electron behave like a particle, sometimes electron behave like a particle and sometimes electron behave like a wave. So electron have both of this character, that is particle character as well as wave character. And he also proposed a equation, that is lambda equal to h by mv, where lambda equal to the wavelength, h equal to the Planck constant, m equal to the mass of electron, and v equal to the velocity of electron. So according to Planck theory, E equal to h nu, where E means the energy of an electron, h equal to Planck constant, and nu equal to frequency. So you may write h into c by lambda, because nu equal to c by lambda, where c equal to the velocity of light. So you can say that E equal to h into c by lambda. This is the according to Planck equation. And according to Einstein theory, you may also say that E equal to mc square. M equal to mass of the electron and c equal to velocity of electron or velocity of light. So if you consider, that is the first equation and that is the second equation, after equaling this first and second equation, you get h into c by lambda equal to mc square and h by lambda equal to mc. So this mc, now you can transfer this c by the velocity, that is mv, and mv means momentum. So h by lambda equal to p, or lambda equal to h by p equal to h by mv. That is the de Broglie's dual natures of electron. So according to de Broglie, electron have wave nature as well as particle nature. Here lambda equal to the de Broglie's wavelength. This lambda denoted as de Broglie's wavelength. H equal to the Planck constant, and m and v are respectively the mass and the velocity of the particle. So that is the de Broglie's modification or hypothesis theory of de Broglie.